Hi, this is Dr. Robin Abramzcyk, and I'm a general dentist in Heath, Texas. The name of my practice is Smile Ranch Dentistry, and I practice with a holistic and natural approach. This is my blog writer, Michale McNeal.
Hello.
And we're here today to talk to you about spirituality. The power of your words.
Definitely.
They're very powerful.
They are. They seem to be such a small thing, but they create everything around you. And if you think about creation, the sound of a word created everything. So there is power in our words.
Absolutely.
And we are about to get spiritual.
Yeah.
But I love it though, because I'll never forget when I grew up as a kid, I had my stepmom, she would always speak blessings over me. She'd always say, you're going to be obedient. You're going to be a mighty man of God. You're going to be... And I always used to listen when I was young and be like, why is she saying all these things? You know, because it was kind of odd that her behavior was to speak these things into my life and over me. And what I didn't realize is all those words that she had power over my life.
That's right.
And on the flip side is I had friends and I had even loved ones, they would speak the opposite over me. They would speak curses. They would, make fun of me or demean me or say I wasn't good enough. And that was shaping my life.
And even things like you're not going to amount to anything, which was spoken, that is a curse. When you say that over your children or over people, those are curses.
Yeah, and those need to be broken off our lives. And what I realized was whenever my stepmom would speak those things to oppose the negative, it was breaking those curses off my life. And I got to the point where I realized that we live in a society where we're taught to curse ourselves. We're taught to demean ourselves. We have a sort of a self-destructive behavior that starts to get created in us.
Right.
And what I realized is all the games that I played, all the television shows that I watched, all these things that they feed it.
Yeah,
that is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And so I learned that in my own life to sort of create the environment away from those things is turning the TV off. And one thing, thought came to my mind in Revelation, it says, tell a vision, right? We don't have our own vision, right? Because the Bible says my people perish for a lack of vision. We got to know where we're going. We got to know what we're looking at. There has to be some clarity in our life to the path that we should be living, right? And not just sitting in front of something that is going to shape us the wrong way. Right?
And one of the things that I think about is I think he's Japanese, and he did the studies of water and the words that were spoken, the blessings that were spoken, even the music that was played with water, and the crystals as it was being frozen, the crystals that would form whenever he would compare different words like thank you, bless you, I love you versus I hate you. And even the rice experiment where people spoke blessings over rice and they had the same prepared rice and they spoke curses in that black, when the rice was opened weeks later, the rice that received the curses was black. So it's even inanimate objects can receive those types of words, and how much power when you put something out there in the universe, it comes to fruition. Is very powerful.
Yes, it is.
Another thing that I love to think about is the pendulum effect. So as much evil and bad out there and that there is, that love is the greatest. Love is the greatest force, and it's the pendulum effect. So, if you look at a pendulum and what happens, and it swings side to side, and there are all these other balls, and you start it, everyone eventually will follow the greatest force. And I love that. And I like to lead my team that way here. I am always about blessing, speaking positively.
That's right.
And whenever I feel like we need to circle back, and why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? It's because God has called us. Everyone here has a purpose. Let's focus on our patience. Let's focus on bringing healing. And that's what we have to keep in mind, is what is the most important thing. Focus on love, because it is the greatest force.
It is. I love that. And that's something that leads me around too, is for us to look internally. It's not necessarily about what we're doing, it is why we're doing it. That is such an important question. It's one of my favorite questions to ask people is, why do you wake up every day? What gets you going? What's your passion? What's your, why do you do what you do? And if you're doing something that is in a space that you shouldn't, change it. Don't be afraid to change, right? And so we have that choice for a reason. right?
Yeah.
And so that brings me to another thing that I want to talk about, because like you said, love is the most powerful thing. And there's something to say that when we are in a state outside of love, when maybe we're being abused, or we're being verbally spoken against, or the Bible calls those fiery darts, right? People think bad about you, they speak bad about you. There is a shield of faith that we can lift up, right? There's a way that we can have internally to stand against those things. And I would encourage everyone, if you're in a situation like that, that God backs you up in those stands, because He wants us in a place of love.
That's right.
Is that right? He wants
Yes,
us in
that
a
is.
place where we're able to stand in our faith, we're able to stand free and able to love others, because the Bible says, if I loved you the way that I wanted to be loved, the world would be totally different, right? And so if I want to serve you that way, I want you to be my friend the way that and so that principle is something that always gets me to think about how I'm treating everyone around me, and it brings me back to my own why, right? Because we want to give out that type of love to everyone, regardless of who they are, and let go of anything that anybody has ever done to us.
That's right.
And that way we're not bringing any negativity, we're not bringing any of that stuff to them, but we are free ourselves, right? So I just encourage everyone, look inside. I usually tell people we need to work in. Everybody's trying to work out, we're trying to change our physical bodies. We never work in on ourselves. And so the Bible says examine yourself, right? See if you are holding anything against me. There's books out there. Derek Prince, one of my favorite authors, he talks about how, someone with stage 4 cancer, he would go to their bedside and he'd grab this lady's hand and he said, "Sweetheart, who do you have unforgiveness for?" And she just breaks down, just wells up with tears and is crying and starts telling him all these people. Well, guess what happened to the cancer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so we have to take a look, because those things, literally, we hold
That's
on
powerful.
to things that
That's
eat
powerful.
away at us inside. And the Lord says that we need to forgive, because we won't be forgiven unless we're forgiving other people. And that's the same principle as what we do to others, we want done unto ourselves.
Yes,
right?
amen.
So
Michael,
yes.
I pray blessings on you.
I pray
love
blessings over you
all
too.
around you.
Amen.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks.